Okay, here's the second video on learning logs. So we've made a form, and here's my form over here. And when I go into my form, what I want to do is see the responses based on a spreadsheet. So when I click responses, I have 0 responses so far because nobody's done this learning log. This is a different one. But over here, there's a spreadsheet, and it says create spreadsheet. So from the responses, I can click create a spreadsheet, and I want to create a new spreadsheet. I made a different form for each of my classes. So in the new spreadsheet, I might want to leave it the same, or I might want to change it to, like for me, it would be Spanish 2. So I could just put a little Spanish 2, just so I can find that later on. It's easier to sort what things are. So I hit create then, and up pops my learning log responses. So the first one is a timestamp, and that's the day, the date, and the time that the student submitted their learning log. The email address will be the Interlinks email address that your student submitted with. Then we'll get a column with the goals for the day, questions they have, and the answer to that last question, where did you leave your book? So I will go in, first of all, to the fake learning log. And I'll say the goal today was to create a learning log. And what questions do I have? Where does the info go? And where did I leave my book? It's at home today. And then I hit submit. Okay, and it says that it's been recorded. That's what the students will see on their end. When you open this spreadsheet here, the learning log spreadsheet, you can see now that on September 13th, 2017 at 10:47 in the morning, Jocelyn Judge put in these responses. So this way you can see what all the responses are. Now, what's going to happen is when people go to this form, they can submit it. They should use the same form over and over. They'll submit it every day you do this. It'll come in. So in our spreadsheet, we're going to start making some tabs down here for some of the information that we want to get. So the first tab that I created was on this tab, I want to get the information of what was the goal today. So I'm going to go to sheet 2 and right click. When I right click, I can rename it. And here I'm going to, actually I want to do questions. I'm not going to do the goal because I know what the goal was. I wrote it. So questions is going to be on sheet 2. And then what I've done is I created a sheet for each of my students. So then I went and I renamed the sheet the student's name. So you notice that I submitted that first questionnaire on the learning log, and it's submitted here on the first sheet with my name, Jocelyn Judge. So that's why I named, if your first student is Joe Datola, then you'd make a tab down here, that would be Joe Datola. So now that we have this, what you want to do is populate all your students. This is where the setup gets kind of tedious. So you make a tab for each of your students. So now you have all your responses coming in, and then you're going to have a tab where you just want to see questions. If you want to see where people leave their book every day, you can make a column for that. So your next job now would be to make tabs at the bottom for the information you want. And I'll give you one little tip. The reason that I made a tab for each of my students was eventually in the 4th or 5th video here, you'll see you can share just that tab with that student. So just Joe would see Joe's information that he submitted. At the end of the semester, my plan is to have the students reflect back on whether they were reflecting. So I can put a reflection personal competency in. So that's the end of this one, how to make a spreadsheet and tabs for each of your students, or even a question. You can do one, as I did questions right here. I could also do one for what was the goal, if I want to see what everybody responds with goal with. And if I want to see where everyone left their book, I can do that. So that's what we're going to leave this video with. You have a spreadsheet and you have tabs for your students along the bottom or for any specific information you want. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to pull the response information to each tab as you want it.